Good morning, welcome to Furry and Spoilt. Today I'm going to show you how to clean a dog's ears. So over the years, these are the first two dogs that I've had to regularly clean their ears. I've come to the conclusion that is because up until these two, I've always had dogs like German Shepherds where the ears have been open and standing up. And I've come to the conclusion that must be the difference, that these have got, like, I don't know if it's a technical term, but you know, the ears, your ears are down, aren't you, darling? You've got down ears, like down ears. There's also, some dogs will have hairs that grow in their ears and they need to be plucked out weekly, regularly. And then other dogs where there aren't any hair that grows in their ears, or it's a very, very small amount. So you might now and again need to just pluck it out, but it's very, you don't have to do it very often. And like I said, up to now, these are the first dogs Albert is the only dog I've ever owned where I've had to pluck out his hair ears every week. Harry, my other dog, hardly ever have to do his. And like I said, up to now with German Shepherds and dogs with pointy up ears, I never had to do it with them. So the only way to really know is you're just going to need to look. And if you think that there is too much hair in the ears, then pluck it out. Now, when I first heard that, because now we do all our own grooming, but back in the beginning with Albert here, we had a groomer, and when she first said that she was going to be plucking out his hair ears, I thought it was going to be painful and awful for him, but actually it's not. So Albert has his ears cleaned twice a week, and I pluck his ears out actually twice a week. I can't emphasise this enough. Every dog is going to be completely different, and if your dog doesn't have problems with earwax, you keep cleaning them is going to make problems. So if your dog doesn't have problems, don't create them by keep cleaning them. And the only way I can really say this is if your dog keeps itching at your ear, not at your ear, if your dog keeps itching at his ear, then you need to basically sniff it. Does it smell a little bit off? And they go kind of brown. Now I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you Albert's ears. He might let me. Albert only has one ear that's bad. The wax on it is really bad, and like I said, we have to clean it and wash it. It's an ongoing thing. And I'm going to try and show you his bad ear and then his good ear. Now his bad ear, today is a day when we put the liquid in, and I will go through all that with you. And so that makes it look particularly bad, and it goes kind of pink and a bit reddish. I don't know if he's going to let me. Are you going to let me just show the people? You see, it looks. You just see what I mean? If you just look at it, it's not looking nice, and it doesn't look all nice and pale pink like the other one, which I'll show you in a minute. You can see where we've put the liquid in. It's just made these hairs here go wet. But you can see it just doesn't look as pale pink and as clear. If I show you the other one. It's all right, my darling. We're just showing the people so they can clean their doggy's ears. If you look at that ear, can you see that's nice and pale pink and nice and clear and nice and clean? Now you can see here, look, we've got a few hairs here which just need to be plucked out, which I will do. So you can see a normal dog's ear that hasn't got any problems, they will just have a nice pale pink ear. But if there's problems with earwax, then the ear tends to go a browny colour. Now what will happen is when we put Albert's liquid in, it will go like a kind of browny reddy colour, but by the end of the day it will have settled down and it will be alright. So let me just show you what we do. So now I'm not saying about any products here. When it comes to ear cleaning, I don't have a particular favourite product, or just, you know, whatever. So I'm just going to tell you what we do. Now, what we used to do, and it didn't work particularly great, was we used to put liquid in once a week, and that didn't work particularly great because what was happening was probably about once a week in the night time, it would start to bother him and we would have to clean out the wax. So we were putting this liquid in once a week, and once a week we were pulling the hairs out of his ears, and that didn't work because the wax was building up and it was loosening up, but it wasn't coming out, and so it was really irritating him. And you can bet your life at least once a week we'd get woken up. There's Albert running off. He would never make a movie star, would he? He just runs off. Let's go and find him. He's gone onto his cool pad, which is lovely. Keep him nice and cool. It's a lot cooler here today. We've just been through a heat wave. but with fans, and we've got air conditioning, and I'm very grateful for that. There's Harry up there. So yeah, so doing it once a week, it was like it loosened the wax, but it didn't remove the wax, and so it actually created more problems, because what happened was it was loosening the wax, and then it was always in the middle of the night. It would really, really bother him, and he would have to he was like scratching it, and then I'd have to get wet wipes and get it out, and it wasn't great. But as soon as I changed to putting the liquid in twice a week, he has never done that since. So we put the liquid in twice a week, and he has never gone to the scratching and then I'm having to wipe it out with wet wipes. So if your dog is really, really scratching his ear, get a wet wipe. And again, I'm not fussy about which ones I use. I just get whatever's the cheapest at the time. I just get whatever from Tesco's when I'm doing my shopping. And you just get a wet wipe, and you just, let me sort of demonstrate without a dog. I don't want to upset the boys. There's no need to do that. So just get a wet wipe, put it over your finger. Make sure your nail is short, because you could scratch their inside of their ear. Bend it over twice, sort of like that. So you've got like that kind of thing going on, and put it in there and just give it a good wiggle round. If you're like a man, you might have to get a lady to do it, because then you need narrower fingers. Or use your little finger if you're a man. Put your finger in and give it a wipe around. But ultimately, you don't want to be in a position where you're needing to do that. You want to be in a position where you're putting the liquid in, and the liquid is just melting the wax, for want of a better word, and it's just coming out on its own, and you're not actually having to actually do that thing with the wet wipes. Because when you do that, you're aggravating the ear, and it doesn't help. So I know that all sounded a bit confusing and muddled, so let me just put this nice and straightforward. When we were putting the liquid in once a week, we were softening the wax, but it wasn't coming out, and so it was really irritating him, and he was trying to get it out, and then we were having to get it out. So that's that. When we went to twice a week, that all stopped happening, because the liquid was obviously enough to melt the wax, but also to remove the wax. So twice a week now for this. So let me just show you this. So like I said, we just get whatever one is about. I'm not fussy. I haven't found one product better than the other. I think it's all, you know, the same really. And it's just an ear cleaner, and you can just see on there what it is. I'll just get it from Amazon or pet shop, whatever. And it's just a liquid, and you just put that in. Albert isn't a massive fan of having it done. We do it when we're grooming them on a Saturday. He's not a massive fan of having that done. Now, this was another interesting discovery. So, groomers tell you that if you're going to pluck the hair out of dogs' ears, to use a ear plucking powder, and it basically covers the hair and then makes it easier to grip the hair and pull it out. And I was doing that for a few years. And then one day I, for whatever reason, didn't put the powder in. I just did it with my own fingers without the powder. And I noticed that he was much happier about having it done. So when I put the powder into his ear, he used to really hate it and run off and hate having his ears plucked, and it was horrible. But I've now learned that he doesn't mind having his ear plucked. In fact, he almost likes it. He doesn't like having the powder. So I don't put the powder on anymore. I just pluck the ears just with my fingers. And again, you know, I mean, that is what it is. But like I said, I haven't used that now for years, because he didn't like it. And I always thought he hated having his ears plucked. And it wasn't that. He just didn't like to have the powder in his ears. And so I just pluck his ears with my fingers. Again, you've got to keep your nails short, because if you catch the inside of their ears with your nails, they might scream and it'll cut them and it'll hurt them. So keep your nails really, really short. So we're going to find a dog, because this isn't the most interesting video in the world, and that's really important. You don't want to hurt them when you're plucking their ears. Let's go and see little Albert here. So yeah, and so I pluck his ears. It's all right, darling, we're not doing anything. So I pluck his ears a couple of times a week, and then we put the liquid in a couple of times a week, and that is working an absolute treat. Now with Harry, my other dog, who I can see a foot, I can't see his face, he's lying on the floor over there. We were putting the liquid in his ear every week, but his ears started to get a little bit sore. And so I just thought, well, if he's not, because originally he had the earwax problem, and I went to the vet and they, you know, said it was earwax, because I wanted to check it wasn't his teeth, because he kept going at that area. But that cleared up really quickly and there's never been a problem since. And because it isn't a problem, I don't do it every week. I don't do it at all now. I think doing it unnecessarily was causing him more problems. Obviously, if he starts going at his ear again, I will, you know, sniff it and have a look at it and see if I think there's some problem in there. But all the time he's not bothering with it, I'm not doing it, and that's working well. If I just stopped doing Albert's ears, he'd be in a right mess. When I was going through the stage where I was only putting the liquid in once a week and it wasn't enough and I was having to clean his ears out myself, what comes out is it's a reddish brownish paste almost. Stinks to high heaven. If it stinks really, really bad, then you might have an infection and that might mean you've got to go to the vets. But his smell just not pleasant. But if it smells really bad, then it might be an infection. He's never had an infection in his ears. We managed to keep on top of it all the time. There's never been an infection. So when you're wiping it out, you get like a reddish brown, which is quite alarming because it's very different sort of colour to our earwax. And that will come out. So don't be too alarmed by that. And then just sort of keep going until you get it all out. But like I said, don't be digging around too much. Just be very aware that it's their little ear canal and that it's sensitive and that you will hurt them. And then they're never going to want you to do it again. So that's that. Yeah, it's you know, some dogs will. I know some dog owners who always have to do their ears like we do, and you know, again, some dogs that don't. Something else I do is when they're sleeping. Now with Albert, I can't do it because he's only got little ears. But what I do when they're sleeping is like this. Just open up their ears if you can. Albert's aren't the easiest to do because they're not that long. Harry's are really, really easy because he's got long ears. Just open up their ears like that and let some air get in there. So you can see there's nice and perfect pinky colour. But you can also see there's some, deep down there's no hair because I've been plucking it all out. But there's a little bit too much hair around the whole of the ear, and so I'll do that for him later today. And with Harry, it's easy to do because his ears are longer because he's got some King Charles Spaniel in him, and so his ears are longer, so I can put them right back. That just gets some air in them and just helps them to stay cleaner. So that's it. That's my tips for how we clean our dog's ears. If you've got a dog like a German Shepherd, you are very unlikely to have earwax problems, but it's probably worth now and again just getting a baby wipe and just wiping their ears around like I do with Harry, just now and again. Don't go deep, just wipe them around. And the other thing you've obviously got to watch with a dog like a German Shepherd is things can go in their ears because they're just completely open. There's nothing there to stop anything going in. And you've got to watch like grass seeds and stuff like that. So just, you need to keep an eye on their ears. And again, you know, sniffing is always going to be the best way to know what's going on in your dog's ears. But just be aware, if they've got open ears like that, then you need to sort of be aware of that as well. So that's it. So that is how you clean a dog's ears. As always, any questions, pop them in comments. Any tips, anything you do, pop them into comments. We are on Instagram, Twitter, there's the website, #Furry and Spoilt. Everything's under Furry and Spoilt. So that's us for today. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a really lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.